Alright, so I got the screws out and I just put them back in. You can see this one was in the top left corner, this one was in the top right corner, bottom left, bottom right, so they've all been completely switched orientations respective to the block. These two were giving me trouble in the top threads before, and these two were screwing in just fine in the bottom posts. My top and bottom is upside down here. This is the top. These two are closer together. This is the bottom. These two are farther apart. Right? Okay. This is the one that was giving me the most trouble before. Got to push a little bit to actually get the threads to catch in the first place. This mounting point was actually the one. This screw was not giving me trouble. 1 and 2, the screws. I don't know if it's 1 and 2 the screws or 1 and 2 the posts on the motherboard. This one is hand tight on the first quarter turn. That is effectively locked. And that one's still going, not nearly as easily as the stock cord. This guy's almost screwed all the way in yet, so I'm not going to go that far down. That guy's going in without issue, so it's not the screws. That guy looks like he wants to keep going in. This one is not moving. And it's the hardest view to get with the camera. Sorry guys, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, literally the first quarter or half turn on it. Something's up. I don't understand how this is happening. That the block itself could be influencing the way that these screws are going in. Here. So I already tried all the screws and all the holes and they screw in fine. It's not a thread issue. I just moved all of these screws around respective to the block itself, and it's these top two mounting, it's this one now, this mounting point that is giving me trouble. Well, now it's going down, but not when these are connected. So I'll start that one, and then got to push a little bit to get the thread to catch, push a little bit to get the thread to catch, push to get the thread to catch, and it's locked. I'm using a good amount of force to turn it, and I don't want to turn it anymore. Alright, so I've been talking to EK support. They've been responsive and helpful. After sending the last couple of videos, they said the screws aren't going in because you need to make sure there's the same pressure on all the corners. And I agree. And that is exactly how I realized that there is an issue in the first place. Because using the diagonal screw method, let me just show you, guys. Is this box too big? This box is too small. Man, this is super, super fun. Still too big. Okay. That'll work. They're all aligned. Got to push down a little bit to get the threads caught. There's already more pressure on these two. This one is just about locked. I don't know if I've made a full rotation yet. This one is just about locked. These two will continue to go in, but I'm not going to tighten them down because these will not move. And initially I thought maybe like these are just supposed to go in a quarter turn. And I looked to see if maybe these were spaced differently so they have a different height, implying that they don't need to go down as far. And then I read the manual and it said screw in all the way and do not use any tools. And I've maybe made one rotation in this screw, and there's a lot of opposition in there. This one doesn't want to move at all. These will move just fine. So that's where I am. Alright, so I'm going to measure the related distances between the top screw components and all things related. Let's see, this is the top. So I need to measure the inside distance, so inside to inside and then outside to outside edges. Same up here. I'm not an engineer. I don't like having industrial tools from my garage by my electronics. Let's see. I'm in the light, unfortunately, and my camera works shit, but I'm not really doing this for the production value. That is the exterior. Close as I can get it, 50.3 millimeters. Let me tighten it down so it doesn't move. And up here, I know I'm in the light. I don't know if you guys have any chance of seeing this detail. Really, I'm not the one who's supposed to be doing this. Pretty close. I'm trying to line up this one first. Alright, so yeah, it overshoots the exterior by just the slightest amount, probably the width of that housing there. Well, let me restate. The motherboard's mounting posts for the top side of the block screws is just the smallest amount wider on the exterior diameter or distance than the EK blocks. 50.3. Again, the camera work is not going to reflect what I'm seeing with my eyes. So I'm using my eyes. Yeah, that measurement's good for the outside of this block, and it does not match up. Sorry, specifically. So when this guy's lined up with the outside of that hole, I'm trying to do it as accurately as possible. This guy is not lined up, about the width of that housing. On the interior, again, that's about 50.3. for the, I guess, the block itself. Let me see what the measurements are on the interior. Which is a bit easier because I can actually go into the interior. Much more accurate. What does that say? It says 41.88. Tighten it down without moving it. 41.89. So that's the interior distance. Let me get this guy down in there. And it does not line up. I've got it. I'm trying to keep this. Damn, I know y'all can't see anything, but I'm trying to avoid going too far in there and getting a measurement of the threads. I want the measurement of the housing, which is there, and yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but again, this is off by about the width of that housing. Yeah, you can see that, okay. It's a goddamn fucking shame, man. God damn it. Alright, so it's the next morning. Basically wasted a day yesterday just trying to do shit with this thing that wasn't going to happen with this thing. So I'm going to go at it with some tools and I'm going to fuck it up. And if it still doesn't work, I won't be able to return it. But that's going to be cheaper than waiting for, 10 days, 15 days to get a replacement from Europe. Which they suggested I do. EK said, why don't you go ahead and open up an RMA. And destroying this and getting a new one will be faster and cheaper. It'll certainly be cheaper if I one of the things that I'm wrestling with is that I've got, a return policy on all these crazy expensive parts. So if I haven't even done a test boot yet to see if the motherboard's good, the processor's good, etc., etc. So I need to do that so I can get it back to whoever shipped it to me in the first place if the part is broken, so, or dead on arrival, as they say. So I'm just gonna hack the shit out of this thing and make these holes work. These guys, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, I will just bring fire to the world and you will know about it. So that's where my head is right now. I'm using metal files to enlarge either of these in some direction, out or in. I need to look at it again to figure out which, but that's where I am now. Then I'm going to connect some power cables, plug in the GPU. I think it'll fit. Let's see. Just for my test, maybe, I don't know, maybe I have to use the tray on it as well. Alright, we shall see. I'm digging in. Wish me luck.